Hello again and welcome back. It's Thursday and that means it's time for the next crochet design challenge where I take an idea or a concept and show you all the steps that I follow to get from the original idea through to the finished piece. This week, I'm going to turn myself into a pigeon. Let's get into it.
Have you heard of Fall Guys? I've decided I want to be one, specifically the pigeon. So this is sort of an online gaming thing that's taking over a lot of game streaming at the moment, where you play these little beans and you run these obstacle courses and you do these challenges and try and catch each other's tails, and basically you can wear different outfits while you do it. I have fallen in love with the pigeon. So I have decided I need to make the pigeon, but I don't just want to make the pigeon, I want to become the pigeon. All right, so I've already done a little concept sketch here. Now I started out thinking, oh, I'll just make the little bean, but it's kind of like, where's the challenge in that? Anybody could just make the little bean. It's a little bean. But then I was just like, what if I become the bean? That's something interesting. So that's a challenge on 3 different levels for me. But the first being that it's a wearable item, and I don't make wearable items, I make toys. So there's sort of a few different challenges there, including size and fit. The second challenge will be that it's huge. It's going to have to be really big to sort of fit the same sort of dimensions as it does on the bean. And it's going to need a proper support, and it needs to be made out of the proper materials, because otherwise it'll just flop. Okay, so if you've been watching my videos, you already know what I'm about to do. We're going to do some diagramming and we're going to draw some basic shapes. But the thing is with this particular design is that it already is just sort of one basic shape. It's a long cylinder with some stuff stuck on. However, with a project at this scale, we have to factor in some additional things. So first being structure, we need it to stay in place. So that means designing a foundation that you won't necessarily see, that sits underneath and stops it moving around. So say that's the human head. The actual fun bit will sit over the top. First piece is actually a little balaclava type thing. And it doesn't need to be pretty, it doesn't need to be stylish, it just needs to be a basic balaclava that we can attach the things to. So once we have this inside piece, what we're going to want to do is make the pigeon dome. Oh yeah, pigeon dome, giant pigeon dome. Now, looking at the concept sketch, it kind of flares out a little bit. We see that it gets these little feathery bits after where the head sits. We want our pigeon dome. Now, we can see that the height of the window should be about the height of the head above the window as well. So say that's the window, the height of the head should come to about there. And assuming shoulder level is there, that is where we will put our first round of feathery bits, hypothetically. We're just going to make the tube first. So that does need to be in the right colours, and we're going to try and match as closely as we can that blue purple we saw in the original photo. In order to get that colour, I'm probably going to mix sort of a deep purple and a deep blue just to really match it. And in working with a double strand, it has the added benefit of holding its shape firmer. So I'll hook size down, of course, but using a double strand will help me for not only just reach the size I need to, but have the structure I need to sort of hold the pieces in place. So we'll also have like a little beak, a little eyeball. So that's step 2. Step 3 will be to make a series of, like, not even bothering with pencil for these, a series of feathers in the appropriate colours to go around the bottom. And then we will need 2 simple sunny side up eggs for the eyes. And we will also need a beak shape. Now the beak, if you look again at that concept picture, has almost a pink base, and then it turns yellow, and then it has like a little wobbly thing at the top. If there is time, I don't know how long something like this size will take me. If there is time, I would love to sort of try and incorporate almost a scarf-like arm with a mitten on the end and just really make this a full-blown pigeon costume. And we'll just see how we go. Okay, and with that, it is time to get started. Okay, so I went ahead and whipped up the world's most basic balaclava. I think I did it using treble crochet, so I didn't even try and make it any kind of wearable with just this round opening in there left to be just enough so that my eyes peek through, because I don't want any more of my face peeking through than that, because we're going for the bean look. I did make it out of a very bright colour. The smarter plan would probably have been to make it out of a darker colour, so there was no chance of it showing through. But honestly, I went with this stuff here because it was 12 ply and I knew it would work up really quickly. And with the sizes that we're talking about, any shortcut that I can take to make it big enough, quick enough is the one that I'm going to do. So yeah, so there we go. Now we have a foundation with which to build our pigeon off of. Right, so that's that first step done. The next step is to start building the giant pigeon tube. Now I am going to be using sort of dark purple and a dark blue held together to get the right color. But even though I'm using 2 strands of what recommends 4mm hook, and so I should be using a 7 or an 8mm hook, I'm going to use a 5.5. Ooh, let's see if I can. Oh, yay, focus and up the right way first time. I'm going to be using a 5.5mm hook just so that I get that really stiff fabric, because I don't want it to drape, I want it to hold its own shape. So that was just a quick sample, and I think the colour is turning out exactly the way that I wanted. I really kind of like the two-tone look, and so we're going to continue on. First things first, as any curly girls out there will know, I just need to protect my hair. We are going to try on the balaclava, and now to try on the pigeon head, just to make sure everything is shaping up correctly. Am I good to keep going? Okay, I hate zooming out so that you can see the whole thing, because you can see how messy my whole desk is, but here it is. Here is where we're up to so far. So we've finished the little sort of male slot there for the eyes, and we've continued down, it's 9 rows down. Now we're just gonna like, it's so big. All right, so I'm just gonna zoom us back in here. All right, so what I'm gonna do here now is just plot out these feathers a little bit. These feathers, we know from the reference image that we need to fit 6 across the front, and then there's kind of a little split, and then I'm going to assume that he's the same across the back as he is across the front. So we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 feathers. We know that they hit the body at the same stitch because they start where they finish. I happen to know that my headpiece, my tube, is 108 stitches around. So 108, just as a little reminder there now, and we need to leave little gaps for the shoulders. And I am going to make those 11 stitches each. Method to my madness, bear with me here. So if I take out 22 stitches from the original 108, that should leave us with, oh, math, 86? 86? Yeah, okay, 86. That's right, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, so 29. Oh, whoops. There's 2 sides, so divide that by 2 and you end up with like 43. And then we've got 43, take the 7 connecting stitches, though I suppose those 2 bits could form the side. No, we're going to do it this way, 7, because then we end up with 36 stitches, 6 feathers. So we know that these bits in between those 2 joining stitches should be 6 stitches wide each. Now the first row of those feathers we know have green in the middle and then they're purple on the outside. So we're going to have to sort of keep in mind some color changes there. And I think the way I'm going to work it is I'm going to work 1 feather at a time, work it in flats all the way down, and then stop, reattach here, and then work the 2nd feather across, and just build it up like that 1 at a time. Or maybe I could work, oh, no, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, no, strike that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to work the coloured section up in rows, and then I'm going to come around with the purple at the end and stitch around the outside, or to give it a nice, smooth, scalloped appearance. That's what we're going to do. Genius. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Ready? Go. And I just forgot to say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work in the front loops only for these feathers, leaving the back loops free for me to attach the next row. So that's a really important structural element, and I just need to duck back in here and say it really quick. Okay, so there's the first feather, and we're going to try the rest of them with them actually under the camera. How about we try that for a change? Okay. Okay, so we're back and it's day 2 of this particular project, and not everything's been going to plan. So I hope none of you are here for 6 hours of feather making footage, because I just want to do that on the couch. So we're at sort of this point. I've got 4 layers of ruffles in the different colors here. Now the feathered ruffles, instead of hitting like here, they hit more like here. So that's actually a really big difference, and it leaves this like vacuum. So that's sort of the first problem that I have to try and solve. And the second is these feathers are really curly. Now that's an easier one to solve. There's a lot of different ways to, sorry, hold that up a little bit further. It's a really easy one to solve. There's a lot of different ways that we could approach that. I'm just going to put in some strategic stitching, I think, to try and fix that. Now, as for the height thing, I could go in 2 different directions with this. I could stay with the Fall Guys theme and try and continue trying to make this like a human-sized bean costume, or I could leverage the gap, dangle some little feet from there, and just turn my head into a
pigeon. Just to, like, it might be cute. I don't know. The other sort of, if I stick with the Fall Guys theme, I might have to, oh, look at all the buses going past outside. If I stick with the Fall Guys theme, I might have to can just start doing some of the body color and block out that little gap a little bit more, which I don't think is a huge deal. I really don't know how I'm going to proceed at this point. But yeah, I kind of just sort of need to decide which way I want to go.
Okay, so I think the next thing that really needs to be tackled, just so that I can try it on properly, is I need to attach the balaclava bit with, it's so big, with the headpiece. Let's see if I can zoom that out a little bit more again, show you how messy my desk is. It's actually not too bad in that shot. Okay, let's bump these back a little. All right, so yeah, the next thing to do is to attach this piece to that piece. So for that, I am going to need my supervisor. Now, to attach these pieces, we need to make sure that these openings line up. Then I'm just going to pin around, making sure that that lighter purple is thoroughly covered. I'm also going to try and leave a row of these stitches free because I might actually crochet once around the inside of this just to cover up any sort of loose ends and to sort of smooth the gap out. So I'm going to pin it just a little bit back from the lip so that I still have those stitches free to work with. Always fix problems with your structure in the pinning phase. Don't try and fix it in the sewing phase. You can pin many, many times and sewing's a pain in the neck to unpick. All right, so there we go. So the idea behind this is the balaclava, you can see, doesn't take up all the space inside. So we're going to sew this opening together, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stuff the space in between. And at that point, I will work out what to... We'll see, here we go. Problem number 3, we've left an opening at the bottom that I haven't thought about. So this is just a very new project, and hopefully it doesn't come out looking ridiculous because, I mean, I guess it's successful if it looks ridiculous, but I'm going to show you how it turns out anyway. So hopefully it's a little bit more pigeon and a little less cautionary tale. So I'm just going to sew that together right now. Sorry about that, everybody. Both lights are on now, so you should be able to see what's going on. Okay, so it is quite hot and frizzy inside there. So yeah, I wanted to try and explain the next bit to you. Oh, hello. Explain the next bit to you inside the head, but then the microphone wouldn't stay in, and I wanted to just make sure that you guys could hear me. So we've got a few problems there. As you could see, the gap I was talking about, I've stuffed it and it's so big. Breathing isn't actually a problem though. You're only breathing through 2 very thin layers of crochet. So around the opening, around the... Oh, please don't be broken, please don't be broken, please don't be broken. Okay, okay, all right, you don't look broken, all right. We are doing our best. Some days things don't work. All right, okay, you're all right. Let's try that again. All right, so the opening, I actually had my partner try it on as well, just to see if it's kind of a one-size-fits-all situation, and it did really clarify that I do need to just go around the outside of the opening in the dark purple, not just to smooth it out, but because on him you could see a lot of like the pink coming through. The pink is very helpful when trying to work out where to put your head though. That's what the underside of this currently looks like. So head goes in here, and then stuffing is all the way around here. So the feathers are still very crinkly. I haven't managed to sew them down yet. That's what I'm going to do next. See how I feel after that. With the feathers sewed on, I was still a bit burned out on working in purple, so I switched gears and whipped up a couple of eyes and the beak. and then a couple of woobly bits for on top of the beak. So why Fall Guys? I don't really know. So I picked the pigeon just because there's so many streams loading up onto YouTube right now of so many people playing it, and it just looks like so much fun. And the second I saw the pigeon skin, it was magic. It was just magic, you know. And so I guess I don't know how I quite got from, hey, that's a cool skin, to I need to be that, but 4 days later, here we are. Now, I did unpin all the facial features before I started doing this, just because I didn't really feel like getting stabbed. And I've stopped and I've tried it on a couple of times as well, and I just wanted to be very careful not to, pins, facial features, you know, it just doesn't really, it's not a winning combination. Now, you are going to have to excuse the frizzy hair, but taking a big, basically acrylic turban on and off your head, particularly when you have very curly hair like I do, you pay a certain price. And this is me, paying that price. Anyway, there's no reason for both of us to suffer, so I'll cut to the end at this point, I think. Being the pigeon was so much fun that Mr. Knots just wanted to join in too. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you had fun hanging out. If this video gets 100 likes, I'll revisit the pigeon and I'll make more pieces of him, maybe his feet as slippers. If you had fun today, please hit the subscribe button. I put out videos every Thursday and I would hate for you to miss one. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what I should try next. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye!